Guys, week 2 is in the books, and we are heading fast towards Chiefs football in week 3 of the NFL season, where hopefully they can get their first victory on the season. But we have some things worth talking about here in the second week of the season, as the Chiefs have lost to the Eagles. This will be a What We Learned video for the Chiefs offense. This will be in the What We Learned playlist here on the channel. And we have 4 big talking points, and you're going to like the first one, and there are varying levels of liking the next couple. The third one, maybe not quite so much. But the first talking point here is Josh Simmons is going to be very, very good, which doesn't just mean that the Kansas City Chiefs have their left tackle position figured out. It might mean that the Kansas City Chiefs have 4 of their offensive line parts figured out, excluding, right tackle. So here's what I actually posted these in reverse order of what I wanted to talk about. Versus the Chargers in week 1, Josh Simmons played 61 snaps, scored a 51 overall grade despite having a 61.4 pass blocking grade and a 59.1 run blocking grade. He had 2 penalties, which really threw off his overall offensive grade. Now, we do not have his tackling grades for this week, but I imagine he came out on the positive side. We do, however, have his total offensive grade for the week, which is 69.3, an improvement of 18.3 points on the overall. How did that happen? When you look over here at run blocking, he got 10 points worse in run blocking to 49, down from 59. But who cares? The Chiefs had 12 run blocking snaps while he was on the field anyway. The Chiefs don't want to run the football, do they? Apparently not. We'll get to that later. Well, he improved by 18 overall offensive points because his pass blocking grade was an 87.8 on 39 snaps. I repeat, an 87.8 pass blocking grade versus the Philadelphia Eagles. A very, very good, very, very high impact defense for the Philadelphia Eagles. So Simmons had the second highest offensive grade this week with that 69.3, second only to Patrick Mahomes, who I believe was at like 70.1, something like that. But Simmons looks to be, so far, the real deal. And we are likely to see a lot more of this type of seesawing during his rookie season. Remember, this is his rookie season, so an 18-point swing in the overall grade is probably going to happen fairly regularly. But there will be times where he has an elite offensive score because he has had a game that was very good in both the run blocking and pass blocking category. You see here, he is sort of teeter-tottering. So week 1, he had a low offensive grade, but his pass blocking and run blocking grades were just 3 points apart. This week, he has a much better offensive grade and a much better pass blocking grade, but his run blocking is way down there at 49. Probably you're going to see a lot of that during the rookie year. And arguably, that's a good sign because it means that he is improving and lapsing. The ceiling is going up each time he takes one of those great big swings versus a guy like Mike Caliendo, who is probably pretty steady around where he grades out. Not to say anything bad about Mike Caliendo, but not a whole lot of upside on the upside, but pretty stable on the floor. You know what it is you're going to get out of him. The second thing that we can take from this game is this. Patrick Mahomes is going to throw the deep ball. So I rounded up his in-air yards per passing attempt. So far this season, and it's likely to come down, but so far this season, 8.5. That is the third highest number of his career. You had his first season, second season, third season. So you have right here an 8.5, which would rank right up there. So he's been sort of on a steady decline year by year. 9.1 down to 8.8, down to 8.4, down to 7.3, down to 7.2, down to 6.5, down to 6.2. Right around in here is where he lost Henrique, and then Travis Kelce has been getting older, and the Chiefs have had difficulty figuring out the wide receiver spot since then. However, this year, going from 6.5 in 2023 and 6.2 in 2024, it skyrockets to 8.5. Now, again, just 2 games. The law of large numbers will obviously take this down a little bit, or will it? The Chiefs are going to get Xavier Worthy back in this lineup. Xavier Worthy will likely take who off of the field? Well, until Rashee Rice gets back, Xavier Worthy's reps, once say he returns in week 3. I don't know if that's the case. Say he returns in week 3. He'll be taking Juju Smith-Schuster off the field. You're going to be substituting Xavier Worthy's speed for Juju Smith-Schuster. So if there are 3 games with Xavier Worthy but no Rashee Rice, it's just going to be bombs away, baby. And we have seen Tyquan Thornton already with 100 yards, which is the second biggest season of his career through 2 games. Right now, he has a 25-yard per reception average and is pacing for 850 yards this year. Unlikely to get it because, again, Xavier Worthy is going to come back. Rashee Rice is going to come back. Jalen Royals is going to come back. That said, Sky Moore would not be having those numbers in this offense, would he? So this was a definitive move towards the upside for Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. Imagine how many times Patrick Mahomes would have let it rip to this point if Xavier Worthy had not been the victim of a Travis Kelce railroading. Again, you would be seeing Xavier Worthy on the field in the place of Juju Smith-Schuster. I think Patrick Mahomes is likely to a couple times just let it rip to Xavier Worthy for the effect that it will have on the rest of the defense for the remaining 60 snaps of the game. Why? Because they know that speed's on the field. You cannot screw with that. You can't play with that. You have to respect it because you know Patrick Mahomes, wherever you are on the field, can put up 6 points right now. I couldn't find the stat. I don't know where I used to find it. If anyone knows where to find the stat, let me know. But Patrick Mahomes' number of 20-plus yard completions must be at like 25% already of what it was last year. Again, I can't remember where I used to find that statistic, but if you know, let me know in the comments. Upon returning, I imagine that Rice takes Juju Smith-Schuster off the field. He is playing that X spot, and it's possible that Royals puts him in a limited role sooner than that, let alone Xavier Worthy. But I can't see Tyquan Thornton falling down to the 8 reps played by Jason Brownlee. So in this game, Hollywood Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster played 45 reps. Tyquan played 42. Then it fell all the way down to Jason Brownlee with 8 reps. And then you had Nico Remigio with just 2 reps. I don't see that being the case once Xavier Worthy returns to the lineup. I don't see Tyquan Thornton, with the weapon that he has proven to be, falling all the way down to those 8 reps per game. Now, he can have a bigger impact in those 8 reps than Jason Brownlee does, and the defense will know if he's on the field, he's going deep, so hey, get that safety out of the box. But what I think it means we might see is when you start to look at that running game, and maybe just the lack of a running game, The Chiefs might be going with empty backfields quite a bit this season. They might return to that, daring teams to blitz them, just like in the good old days. They have the best left tackle, I would contend, of Mahomes' entire career on the field, despite the fact that he is a rookie. Now, after talking about that, I'm going to talk about something that may seem obvious, but I'm going to get at it from a different angle. The Chiefs need some wide receivers back. Here is their drop rate on the season. The Chiefs have a 7.5% drop rate. They have 5 drops already this year. That puts them on pace for 43 drops this season, which would be the highest of his career. You see here, remember that infuriating 2023 season. 39 drops. The Chiefs are pacing for 4 more drops than that. That's an additional drop every 4-ish games. So far, Travis Kelce has 2 of those 5 drops as counted by statistics. Who knows exactly, what would you count, who would you count, where would you count it? This is Pro Football Reference. So by Pro Football Reference, Kelce has 2 of the listed 5 drops. Kelce, for what it's worth, has a 5.1% career drop rate. 1 in every 20 passes thrown to Travis Kelce gets dropped. So far this season, he has a drop rate of 20%, which means 1 in every 5 passes thrown to Travis Kelce gets dropped, or slapped into the hands of a defender who will return at 40 yards in what was otherwise a very close and competitive game and could have led directly to a victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. The average will catch up, right? So it won't, I don't think, be 7.5% drop rate for the whole year, and especially as he gets his possession guy in Rashee Rice back, and neither, I believe, will Travis Kelce have a 20% drop rate. But he could have a drop rate higher than his 5.1% career average. Now, as stated earlier, Jason Brownlee played just 8 snaps and Nika Remigio played just 2, meaning that Hollywood and Juju both played 45 snaps and Tyquan played 42. If there were 3 wide receivers on the field, it was those 3. And there were almost always 3 wide receivers on the field, and it was those 3. So it is very, I think you're tempted to say disappointing, but your other guys are a UDFA, or no, I can't remember if Jason Brownlee was drafted or not, but a guy that you picked up for free off the scrap heap, and Nika Remigio, a guy that you got as a UDFA. Of course, if there are wide receivers on the field at this point, it is either Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, or Tyquan Thornton. The Chiefs kept 8 wide receivers, brought 8 wide receivers into the season, and they have 5 left. 2 of those 5 that they have left were wide receivers 7 and 8. Why would you want wide receivers 7 and 8 on the field if you could help it? And they can. They can put tight ends on the field. They can keep those 3 wide receivers on the field. So I have seen a lot of absolutely people trying to eviscerate the play calling and the personnel decisions for this team at wide receiver. I'm as big a Nika Remigio fan as there is. You can go back and find the videos on this channel to prove it. I like Jason Brownlee and called for him making the football team when almost everyone else said there was no chance. I'm a supporter of both of these guys. But if the only wide receivers that are healthy are Juju, Hollywood, Tyquan, Nico, and Jason Brownlee, you put Hollywood, Juju, and Tyquan, on the field. Those are the ones you have play. Anyone, I don't understand anyone saying, hey, give wide receiver 8 more time. I mean, okay. If that's your hill to die on, that's your hill to die on. I'm not stopping there. I think that there are more pressing needs, and more pressing needs indeed, with the number 4 thing I have to talk about. I can't tell if the Chiefs aren't running because the running backs are that bad, or if the running backs look that bad because the Chiefs aren't running. So far on the season, Isaiah Pacheco has 15 attempts for 47 yards. That's a 3.1 yard average, a 4.5 yard career average. So he's definitely down on his career, but just like Mahomes' in-air yards per attempt have decreased sequentially every season that he's played, so too has Isaiah Pacheco's average per carry. He started his career with a 4.9 yard per carry average and then dropped right to 4.4 or 4.5, and it's been in the 3s ever since. So this is kind of what you expected for Isaiah Pacheco. And Hunt has 13 attempts for 47 yards, a 3.6 yard average versus a 4.2 career average. I think that both of these guys are kind of guys that you have to feed and let them get a little bit of steam. The Chiefs aren't doing it. 15 attempts is 7.5 attempts per game. 13 attempts is 6.5 attempts per game. And Brashard Smith has like 1 carry for 2 yards, right? So it is difficult for me to tell which is the chicken and which is the egg at this point. But I think that it is pertinent that the Chiefs get it figured out. And if they're not going to run the football, hey man, don't even threaten it. Put 5 wide receivers on the field. Let everyone turn their back to Mahomes, and then he'll just run it like he's been running it the past couple of weeks. Don't even fool around with a running back in the formation. That is all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Chiefs fans. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week, and I hope to have you back for the next one.